Okay. Hey everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter that I like to do twice on a Monday. I bring twice a month on a Monday. Let me correct myself. I bring authors into my home. We talk about books, writing, life as an author, and whatever comes to mind. And this evening I have Marla White joining me. How are you, my dear?
Hello, I am doing fine. It's been a beautiful day outside here in LA, and it has been, yeah, can't complain. How
I
about
know.
you?
I mean, I'm up in Fraser Park, and I have to say
Which is much more beautiful. So much more beautiful.
we did meet in person last year. We did a book event up in Pine Mountain Club. And it was a pleasure to meet you. And I booked you on this show. I mean, it was like 6 months ago, but your books look fascinating. So I'm excited to talk about your books and get to know you better. But before we get started with that, can you just give a little background, anything you want to share with the rest of the world um, about yourself?
Sure. It's not that interesting, but sure.
Well, yes.
I had a long career in television development, which means I read a lot of scripts and I gave a lot of notes and I looked for projects. Some of them got made, a lot of them didn't. And then the TV business, in case anybody who's been paying attention at all to television and movies, has been shrinking even before the strikes and even before COVID. It was already a shrinking business. So I'm now more into career coaching. I work through a project, a program through the Burbank Public Library, which is a free program offered to folks in Burbank to help them find jobs. I also teach at UCLA Extension because that's still a thing. People are still at least learning to do television. And I've been writing. Gosh, it's funny. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I volunteered to be a mentor with the Sisters in Crime. Um, I guess the national one. Yeah, must have been the national one. And it was interesting talking to this person who was just like, she has the same problem we all do. Just doesn't have time to write. Needs to figure out what that is to sit down and be able to write. And I was thinking about that that's probably the toughest challenge, I think. I don't know about you, but for me and most people I know, that's the toughest challenge we have to face. So I take to heart the brilliant Janet Ivanovich. I met her once or twice in meetings because we were going to do her books. She says she gets up at 5 in the morning. So that's the best time for her to write. So I kind of took that to heart. I get up, not quite 5 anymore. I used to when I had more things going on, but still first in the morning, get up and do that. That's it.
Wow, you've led a busy life. You really have. I'm going to pause for a minute on this chat. We might have to start over
Oh dear.
because, for whatever reason, and I hate this, this does not happen often, so I'm going to apologize. But for whatever reason, it is not showing the stream live on Facebook or YouTube.
Oh, okay. Well, we can start over.
Just don't let me hold on 1 second.
No worries.
I'm going to just I wanted to see if I can just fix it because it's showing YouTube and not Facebook.
Hmm.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can fix it. Well, if not, we're gonna just start over, and I'm gonna add you.
Okay.
We'll just start fresh. This does not happen all the time. Trust me.
It's technical stuff. It's
It
me.
really is.
Technology does
I
not
kept
like
getting
me.
texts saying, "Where are you?" And that's what got me the question. So bear with me.
No
Okay,
worries.
I am going to leave. I might have to send you a new link. Let me just go out. You can stay where you're at. I can
Okay.
come back in. Give me a minute. Ugh, technology. Okay.
Oops.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm showing that we're on Facebook because I was like saying to myself, where is everybody? Because no one's popping up right now. And then I started getting messages, Tina, it's after 5 o'clock. Where are you? So I was able to do it on this channel.
Okay.
So we're not going to back out, but we are probably just going to just start over. We are live show.
That's fine.
Fine. It's fine. Give me 1 second.
You are master 10 times more technology than I do. Just the fact that you
Not
do
really.
this. So that's awesome.
Sometimes it is a challenge. It really is. I want to get into. Okay, here we go. Virgie's here. All right, now they're coming to pop on. All right, so sorry about
Okay.
that. I really apologize.
No worries.
But yeah, like you said, but look at this. We just switched sides too. That's okay.
Yes, I was
We
like,
used to be
what
in
are you doing over here?
I know, but it's okay. All right. Okay, everybody. We had a little technical difficulty there for some reason. I was not showing up on Facebook. So we are going to start all over again. As you know, my name is Tina Hogan Grant. I do this twice a month on a Monday. I like to bring readers into my home. We talk about books, writing, life as an author, and whatever comes to mind. And this evening, I have the patient, Marla White, joining me this evening. How are you, my dear?
I am doing great. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing better now.
I'm telling you, man, it's me. I'm like a wizard. I break every
Oh my
technology
God.
thing that happens.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. So, anyways, but I'm excited to have you. I did meet you in person, which is a real pleasure. Last year in Pine Mountain Club when we did a book event, and your
yes.
books look fascinating. I love the covers. We're going to talk about because you've written quite a few books. We'll talk about as many as you can, but you're going to do this again before we get
I'll
started.
be shorter this time.
Okay.
I'll edit myself.
If you can just give us a little background to yourself, whatever you feel
Sure.
comfortable
Yes.
sharing online.
No worries. I worked in television for a long time. I won't say how many years because we're not allowed to do that anymore. But it was a long time ago. I did television movies. I did television series. I worked in development, which means I read a lot of scripts, met a lot of writers, and it was fun and fascinating. But like all good things, television kind of died a very slow, painful death. So I now teach at UCLA Extension. I teach story development. Although this is my last week, thank God I'm exhausted because I also have story
Wow.
analysis I teach too. I also work for a program coming out of Burbank's Public Library called Job Connect Plus. So I am a basically career coach, and I help other people, especially the entertainment folks, try and navigate what a life is after entertainment. And then I write in between times whenever I can.
Why not? I mean, you've got time in your hands to write. How many books have you written now?
Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 properly length books, and then 2 novellas.
And when did you first start writing, books to be published?
That is a really good question. The funny thing is the first ones I wrote are actually more of a contemporary fantasy thing. And I think that I first started writing them with I wrote them because I went down to, have you ever been to the Mission Inn down in Riverside?
I have. Yes.
So I went there one Christmas. It was a gift from my roommate, and I just fell in love with the place and just decided I had to write a series of books that take place at the Mission Inn. So that was probably, I don't know, 20 years ago. But I wasn't at that moment writing with the intention that I would, like see them published. I would write them and keep them hidden away in a drawer where no one could hurt them. And then self-publishing became more of a thing, so like maybe 6 years ago, I published the first of them. And the
Okay.
third one just came out last month. Um, it was such a labor of love sort of thing that it's at that Mission Inn. It's around the Riverside area. It's all the interesting, crazy things there are to do down in Riverside, and it is about the angel Gabriel has an argument with his boss, as you do, and he ends up getting kicked out of heaven and ends up in Riverside
Oh
as
wow, what a
well.
place to end up in. Okay.
Actually, he ends up waking up in the. I don't know if you've ever been to it, the Europa Park with the big dinosaur things.
Yeah, right.
That's where he wakes up. Naked, no memory, no wings, no powers. Not really sure what he's there for, except he knows that he needs to help find Abby, he was her guardian, and he needs that the end of the world is at stake, but he's not sure if he saves the world. Does that mean he gets to go back to heaven, or does that get him kicked out forever?
Oh, wow, interesting. Now, this was your first published book?
Well, first self-published book, yeah.
Okay, so, and what was the title of that one again?
It is called The Angel by the Tower.
Oh, now that's just a standalone, right?
No, it's the first of 3. So the second one is Angel at the Gate, which is a little, they're all continuing. You can't.
Chronicles?
They're called the Keeper Chronicles.
The Keeper Chronicles. I was looking at the bio before we.
Yeah, and then the one that just came out is that one, Angel in the Window, which is, it's been just so much fun because it basically goes from you get to meet the rest of Gabriel's family, his older brother Michael, and of course his younger brother Lucifer. And it's just a really fun, for me anyway, trip how those relationships mature, change, develop. In the third book, Lucifer and Gabriel end up going on a road trip for a little bit in Lucifer's Tesla.
Okay, now what genre would you categorize these under?
Yeah, that's the problem with it. It isn't really the thing, right? There's dragons in the first one, there's zombies in the second one, and the third one is a really interesting, twisted up demon. I would call them contemporary fantasies because they do take place present day, in real place, with real people, humans. The other half of the team is Abby, who runs the mission in, and her love interest, who becomes at least her love interest by the third book, Ryan, who are both humans and very doubtful of Gabriel when he comes up and says that he's an angel. They're like, yeah, sure you are, buddy.
Now, you classify these for young adult, new adult, adult?
These are all adult.
It's a theme?
I mean, it's not. There's no spice level is very, very mild. Maybe if you were doing it in peppers, it would be maybe a red pepper.
Okay.
But there is language. I somehow can't seem to write a book without throwing some
F-bombs. Kids nowadays, they surprise me. So, yeah. Some of the things that come out of their mouths. Okay, we're going to pause for just a second. Okay. I want to just bring up some readers that are joining us. Here we go, technology again. All right, so we got Debbie is here. She says, sounds intriguing. Again, I'm talking to Marla White. And if you have any questions for Marla, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I will go ahead and get to as many as I can. And then we have Renee. She says, your imagination is amazing. I am going to pop up this one question. It's just right up here. So what inspired you to write these fantasies? Sounds very interesting.
It is 100% the mission in really was the inspiration for the whole thing of books. I mean, I always kind of was teetering around with an idea about doing something about angels because I just think they're kind of fun. But if you've ever been to it, all you guys who are listening to it, at least visit online. Google Mission in Festival of Lights, because the wheels are barely off my double wide, and I love nothing but the millions of lights they have there at Christmas time. So much sparkle. So, and it's just such a fascinating place with such an interesting history. That it has. It was never a mission, but the guy who built it called it that. And actually, the urban legend, I guess, is that he would go, because it started like in 1920, I believe. He would get dressed in like a friar outfit, and he would get on the trains that are in the area and give people like oranges and gave them the impression that the Mission Inn had indeed been a mission. And it looks like 3 different churches put together. So anyway, it is just such a fascinating thing. And I love stories about families. And it was funny, I was just talking to my niece who has read all of them. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit inspired by the incredible, because I came from a big family. There's 6 of us.
Oh, wow.
And I'm the youngest of the 6. So yeah, there's a little bit that whole family dynamic is something that I just like exploring and playing with. So that was sort of the inspiration and taking it off from there.
And then when you first started writing this book, the first one, did you plan on it being a series, or did you just kind of unfold? That's the answer I normally get.
It just kind of just kept going. I got to the end of it, and I was just like, I love these people so much, I don't want to say goodbye. So the next story just sort of came a little bit, it was already sort of seeded in the first one by accident, I guess. No, I mean completely by design. The third one is a little bit more by design. By the time I got through into the second one, I decided I wanted to do a third. I really am hoping to do a fourth, but
oh, good.
There's just so many other things, other projects that I got to figure out first.
Well, with your itinerary there, you got a plate full. I want to talk to you've written more than one series. This one
Hmm.
is three in the series. You said
Hmm.
there might be a fourth. When you wrote this series in particular,
Hmm.
that we're talking about it, did you plot it or are you a pantster? Did you just sit and let the characters talk to you?
Definitely, in the first one in particular, I'm more of a plotter. I
Okay.
like to plot out the bare bones anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and then leave myself room to kind of maneuver around and grow. Like Lucifer is supposed to be in one scene, he ended up being in a quite bit more of the first book, and then
Give
gets
it
to
up.
be quite a large part of the third book. One of my mysteries, there was a character who's only supposed to be in one scene,
And voila.
and but he just would not be quiet.
Well, I had a few of those characters.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Yeah.
I found the last one. I was saying I'm trying to get through the next one, the sequel to Framed for Murder, and that one was a tough one because I think I always did nano or have done NaNoWriMo for a lot of years. I'm sorry to see it went away, but I understand why. But I think I was chasing the word count too hard,
Oh,
and I just ended up going, I'll just write this all down. And I thought that was a great idea. And then I got to the end of November, and like come January, I opened up to read it and went, this is a mess. So I had to just
I could,
blow it all up. And it's taken me a bit of time to kind of regroup on that one. So
but you'll get that. Do you write every day? I mean, how can you though? You do write every day. You find time to write every day.
I do. I do. For people who saw the beginning of this, I one time met in my television life with Janet Ivanovich, who's very much an
Oh
inspiration as
wow,
well as far as
you
the
met her?
type of thing. I met her. Yes,
I
she
love
met.
her books.
Oh yeah, they're great. So she came to meet with our company because we were going to try and adapt them as a television series. The movie had tanked,
Oh,
so they wanted to try again as a television series. We pitched it twice. We did the pilot script twice, and it still never quite got off the ground. But it was
yeah.
fascinating to meet with her. And she was my boss, who is an Emmy-winning writer, was or at the time my boss. Asked what her writing process was because he was just really curious about it. And she had said, "I get up at 5 in the morning, and I write until like 11, and then on and on." But I was like 5 in the morning because I was at that time full-time job, had my horse I had to take care of in the morning, and it was like, how the hell? So I thought, okay, if you can get up at 5 in the morning, well, that, and then she made a comment about we asked if she could bring all of her books to go to the meeting at CBS so we could pitching her series, and she's like, yeah, no problem. I'll put them on my G5. It's great. And I was asking her assistant, I'm like, is a G5 like a rolling suitcase or something? And they're like, no, it's a plane. And so it became my mantra. People who own planes get up at 5 in the morning and
I
write
guess
books.
so. I guess
I
so.
haven't gotten there yet,
Oh,
but you know,
I can't. So you say you write every day. When? What you write early in the morning too, or
I'm better in the morning. Because I don't have a horse at this point in time, so I don't get up quite at 5 anymore. But
right?
I am better in the morning. What I used to do during the dark times of COVID, I would write in the morning and edit in the afternoon because I was better at being able to do that. My
Okay,
brain, once my brain gets beyond about 3 in the afternoon,
you're
I'm
done.
just done.
You're done. I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear you. All right, let me pop. I'm gonna pull up some more names out of here. We
Sure.
have Virgie. She says hello. This is from about 20 minutes ago. I'm finally getting around to it.
No.
And then we have Shang Kayun. I never say her name right. I'm sure she's used to it by now. I'm sorry. And then we have Tara. She says hello. And Carol is here. Again, I'm talking to Marla White. You have any questions? Go ahead and put them into the comments. Karen is here. Hey, Karen. And we have Belinda. She says hello. Virtue says you're a new author.
Oh,
Cassandra is here. Cassandra is also an author. Hey, Cassandra.
hello, Cassandra.
She is here. And then we've got quite a few people joining us tonight. We have Janet Labelle. She says, good evening. This is a
Good
comment
evening.
from about 20 minutes ago. Sorry, Belinda, I'm a little behind. She's asking, it's very cool that you are in entertainment. I was reading your bio, and while I'm going through the comments, I just want to ask about this. But there's a cute little story in your bio about You drawing on a TV at the age of 4 years old? What was all that about?
Well, this will definitely show my age. There used to, because I at this point I was a kid. We were living in Cleveland at the time, but I do believe this was a national show. There was a show on TV called Winky Dink and Me, and it was a little animated show. And what the point of it was, they wanted to get you to buy a plastic screen to put across your TV, so that then you could, when Winky Dink gets stuck in like a canyon, you could draw the bridge over the canyon for him to
On
go
the
across.
plastic, on the
Right.
plastic screen.
My parents were too cheap to buy the plastic sheet, so I just drew it on the TV set. That didn't go over well.
Kids to draw on the TV?
They were happy.
You never understand, the crayons in bathtubs, because it's just teaching your kids it's okay to draw on the tile.
Yeah, that's
It
weird.
really is. Because I got one for my son one time. The next thing I know, he's grabbing a marker to go draw. No, we don't do that. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, I got that message very clearly, that we don't do that.
Yeah, with the little smack on the backside.
Yeah, I think it's probably the only time I ever got spanked. But yeah.
And then we have Debbie Tyler is here. Renee is here. Let me see. Shannon is here. Hey, Shannon, good to see you. And then we have Elaine. She is here. I don't want to miss anyone out.
Debbie remembers the show too. That's awesome.
Oh, cool. There we go. All right. Let's get to your latest book, and we'll probably work backwards.
Okay.
Your latest book is Framed for Murder. I love the cover on this. This is one I was looking at when I met you in
That's
person.
it.
Framed for Hold up a little bit longer. I want to see that cover. Hold up. Framed for Murder. Now, from my understanding, this is book 1 of a series.
Book 1.50. I don't know. There was a novella that started it all. So I was had been playing around with the Angel books, and a friend of mine, and we had a writers group together. There's like 4 of us who would get together once a month ish and go over each other's pages and stuff. So one of my friends had been published through a company called Wild Rose Press. It's a very, very small indie publisher.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Mm-hmm.
And so they were taking submissions for what they were calling their cookie book series. So what it needed to be was could be any genre, but it had to have a holiday cookie at the center of the story. It just happened to be, it was around the holidays. And I think it might have been like right before the world shut down. Anyway, yeah, around 2018 or 2019. And I was trying to bake Christmas cookies, and there was this one cookie that, you get all the family recipes and stuff, right? So my mom had, and it isn't actually family. I thought it was until I did some research. It was like, son of a gun, that's from the Pillsbury Bake Off. You didn't make that up. God dang it. But the Starlight Mint surprise, right? It's a cookie, like vanilla wafer with a chocolate wafer in the middle of it and a nut on top. They're delicious. They're delicious. Very hard to find the chocolate. It was definitely a bit of detective work to find the chocolates, because they don't really have them anymore. Anyway, I failed miserably. Every time I tried to make this, I could not figure out what was going on that was wrong with this cookie. So that kind of made me go, I'm going to write a book about this cookie. And also have been for a couple of years at that point, going up to Idlewild with a thing called the Cine Story, being a mentor for their foundation, which meant that I worked with a couple, like 3 writers each time I went up there. Idlewild is amazing and beautiful. It reminds me a lot of the place that we met, Pine Camp Cove, whatever that was.
Mountain Club.
Yeah. Except it's up in the mountains and not down a valley. So, and I was staying at this really quirky little hotel there, because as a mentor, that you just stay where they put you. And this one was just a very quirky kind of fun thing. And I'm like, okay, that's a setting. I know I want the cookie. So it really just kind of came to do. It's an ex-cop who got injured on the job as a LA patrol officer. So she is starting over the second act of her life. Then that's how the family goes up and buys the B&B, and there's a whole cookie contest, and it was fun. It was amazingly a testimony to the fact that I don't read all the words, apparently, because I did that for NaNoWriMo. Loved it, great, was super excited about it, and then read the rules, and NaNoWriMo is 50,000 words in a month. Their limit was 25,000 words.
Oh, so wow.
I had to cut 25,000 words out.
That must have been tough.
It was hard, but every time you make something, at least for me and for the writers that I work with on their scripts, every time you make something shorter, it's always better. You know, it was just a matter of cutting something
Making
about
it
was,
tight and to the point and not a lot of fluff, I
yeah,
guess. Pretty
yeah.
much.
So I sent that one in. It was late, like, because I missed the deadline. I thought it was the end of March. It was like the end of January or something. But the editor there, I remember I got the email on April 1st that said, we want to buy this book. And I was like, is
Sweet.
this real?
That is cool.
So
Congratulations. And when
yeah,
was that?
thanks.
What year did that happen?
I want to go 2020.
Okay, just a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
So, yeah.
this went on. You said that was a novella. How many pages?
I don't know the page count because it's not a physical book. It's only available as an
Only ebook.
ebook.
And
So I know the word count had to be 25,000 words, so it's not very long.
and
They made it.
how many books or short stories do they release each year? Because there's 80 books in this cookie,
Yeah.
Christmas cookie.
Well, they do it for two. Like I know at least they ran it for 2 years because I wrote a second one, the next one, which was also inspired by my life in the television business. The murder victim is a television development male executive, and one of the suspects is the woman development executive who was his boss, and then she got laid off, and then he got her job. It doesn't resemble real life at all. It does. So he gets stabbed in the back, and that's how he dies. And then there's a whole fun thing. So that was the next year was that. So they probably put out 40 a year. They batch them together in groups of 3, for sort of an anthology of it, trying to match genres as much as they can.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's fun. Yeah. So that was the beginning of it. Framed came after that, but it isn't. I wrote it to be a standalone-ish as much as it can be, so you
Ish.
don't have to read the first one to
Oh,
get it.
right.
But definitely the setup for it is the first one, because in the second one we meet Mel O'Rourke as the main character. She is now still struggling to figure out life in a small town where there's no Starbucks and there's no McDonald's. It's just all individual things, which is what Idlewild is. Well, it's Pine Cove, which was funny.
I've heard of Idlewild. I've never been there, I don't think, but
It's gorgeous. But I had to change all the stuff. So change it to Pine Cove instead of Idlewild, but it's totally recognizable. And while she's still struggling with figuring out how to run an inn and what this new chapter of her life looks like, and a little bit of romantic thing going on too, in walks Poppy Phillips, who was a cat burglar, and was actually the person who caused her accident that ended her career, because they were having a rooftop chase, and a little bit like like a movie stunt gone bad. Poppy makes the jump over the roofs. Mel doesn't, crushes her ankle.
oh my goodness.
But Poppy does.
I'm sorry, this is in Frame Murder?
Yeah. No. Well, yes. That's the story is in it. It's not. We open with finding Poppy there, and you'll hear more about the accident. Accident in more detail is covered in Starlight Mint Surprise Murder, the novella. Which it was kind of funny because I wrote it, and then the editor got back to me. Was like, I really would love to see this as a series, and I was like, me too. And she's like, I really would like the character of the cat burglar, who isn't named in the first book, to be and I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking too. So it was kind of fun.
Oh, well, good. And you said there's going to be a book too. It's coming
Yeah.
out soon. And what is
Well, not coming out anytime soon. It's still in the midst of being rewritten, because it was that was the one that I rushed through too much and just had to blow it up and start all over again, which is tough, but sometimes necessary. Trying to patch something back together that just isn't working doesn't work. So Framed is about Poppy is framed for murder, and even though she's not Mel's favorite person, she does help her, prove her innocence, and they become those like frenemies who become besties by the end. So it's not like
it? Do you have a title before you start writing? Because you say you're a author, did you have the title too, or no?
I don't normally. Starlight Mint Surprise, yes, because I knew the cookie. Framed for Murder, no. I struggled with that one a lot. I could not figure it out. The next one is going to be Motive for Murder, just because I'm like, okay, that seemed to work.
Yeah, I like it.
But
did it come to you while you were writing, or you just had to think about it after you were done with the first
that particular one came to me when I was setting up, like trying to plot out what the deal was going to happen, because it was Yeah, it just came naturally out of the question. The recurring question is who had the motive to kill the poor murder victim in the next book. So that just sort of worked out. But Framed was not, and I'm still not all that over the moon about it. But at some point you just said you got to put a
You
title on.
can keep thinking till the cows come home. You just really have to settle on something.
Yeah, this whole keyword thing is just makes me crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, keywords and all the SEO stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff. We have to wear many hats when we self-publish. That's for sure.
Yes.
So Frame for Murder, we have the book 1 that you showed us. Book 2 is coming out. How many do you think will be in this series?
I don't know. I don't have any end game in mind. I would love to be inspired by Janet Ivanovich and all of the
How many
folks who
books is
do.
she right now? Because it was all the alphabet, right? It was.
She's the
She's the
numbers. Yes,
numbers.
I think she's
I get them mixed up with who's the other one with the alphabet?
Oh yeah, who died before? Yes, yeah.
She passed away.
Yeah.
Before Z was written. I think it was when X was written, which was very sad.
Yeah, I remember the story. Somebody was telling me that the family, obviously there were people offering to write it, ghostwrite it or in the style of or whatever, and they were like, nope, we're good.
Yeah, I enjoyed her books too, but very good. But you don't know how many books will be in this series?
I don't, because the problem is that I'm writing so many other books, like trying to get the fourth one,
and teaching and everything else.
Yeah, well, and then with the Starlight Mint Surprise Murder thing, the editor, who was a lovely, lovely person, and absolutely made the books that I did with her much better books. She said, do you have anything else? And I'm like, why, yes, I do. So I had Cause for Elimination.
Oh.
I had written that one long before I did any of the cookie stuff. I'd written it and loved it. And
I know you love horses.
Mm-hmm.
So I see hold that up one more time. Let me see it again. So there's a pony on the front. Can you tell us a little about? Now this is the standalone.
So far, it is. It was always the plan to make it a series too, but yeah, pesky things like
that book.
Paying bills. So Cause for Elimination is set in the world of eventing because that's what I did when I was writing. So eventing is then you do you do dressage, cross country, and you do show jumping, and it is just the most interesting world and the most interesting thing, and the stories. A lot of the stories in the book. From like different side characters coming in or actual ones. Like there's a character who has a set of pink fringy half chaps, which if you write English, there's no pink fringe allowed. That's just not done. It's black and it's very proper. And this friend of mine went, they're on sale. I don't care.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So it is set in LA. It is about a woman who, Emily Connors, who left her job selling widgets to pursue her dream of being a horse trainer. So she had a job as an assistant trainer with her own coach. Had a terrible accident that she rotational fall over a cross country jump, broke her back. Was lucky to live through it. And ends up 6 months later is now coming back to work at the barn. A little nervous about that. And then she finds her boss's body murdered in a stall. Someone has set it up to make it look like the horse kicked her to death. She knows it didn't. So she plants her flag and is like, I'm not letting anybody near this horse until I talk to a detective. And in comes Justin Butler, who's of course ruggedly handsome because all detectives are ruggedly handsome. And he realizes she's right. So she is his entree into this very insular world of horse people. So as she is introducing him to possible suspects, sparks fly, little romance thing going on.
Let's go in there.
The problem that Emily has is she has got a secret that she has hiding from everyone, including her best friend, is that she's become addicted to pain pills since her accident. So she's trying to hide that from everybody.
Yeah. Fentanyl?
Pardon? It's oxy.
Oh, okay. Oxycodone or something.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. A little bit inspired, but not. I didn't know anybody doing that, but there'd been a very famous event writer, Amy Tryon, who unfortunately passed away. Issues related to that. So it is definitely a thing that was front and center of my mind. I mean, there's one thing that I think every single book I've ever written, now that I think about it, is really about second chances and people
Okay.
second acts in their life, starting over again, that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So for Emily, it's having to start over, and can she keep doing this? Can she really ride when she's shit, shit scared out of her just to be around them at this point, um, because of her accident. So it's a fun.
I can see this being a series. I can.
Again, it was meant to be. I even have
I think
notes
so.
because there's the three friends went to the thing for eventers here in the States. There's two five-star events in the States. One is Lexington, and the other I think is Virginia or something. But Lexington, because I went to school in Lexington, I actually have walked on the course, not on a horse, just been there. So I'd always wanted to go to that. The three or four of us got together a couple of years ago and actually went, and we were like
Oh,
plotting out. Oh, the body could be found at the head of the lake,
that's
and then
oh, I love that. Now you said you did event. What's the event show jumping? Is that what you call it?
eventing is the three phases are combined into one. So you do all three phases. The score from all three are added together, and the person with the lowest score is the one who wins. So it's kind of like
No. I
golfing.
mean, I love watching horses on TV. I've ridden a horse once in my life. I was told I sat wrong because for the next week I was in pain. So they told me I sat wrong.
Yeah, it could be very much like I haven't ridden in like 7 years or something like that. Just financially, it is a very difficult thing to support. Um, so I went like on a trail ride with a friend a year ago or something. The worst saddle I've ever sat in, and it can just it might not have been you at all,
My
and plus,
tailbone was killing me. I mean, it was the tailbone,
it's probably the saddle was awful.
and that was it. I was like, okay, I like horses. I love horses, but I'm not going to ride one
Was
again.
it like a rental thing, or was it
We were on Malibu Beach. This was so many years ago. Me and Gordon, we were on Malibu Beach, and it probably was a rental, but it was a lot of
okay?
fun until I got off the horse and tried to walk.
Some of that is just it's not a muscle that you got. If you don't ride all the time, it's not that. And most of those places, their saddles are one of two things. And God bless them. I hope it's this one. Like I think the one that I was on, that they make sure the saddle fits the horse because that's the person who it needs to be taken care of the
So it
most.
could be that the saddle was shifting as I was riding.
But it could be there's a really shitty saddle. I mean, saddles,
The rental, it probably was, right?
yeah, they can be like my first English saddle was like riding on a lunch tray. I mean, it was just, and that was part of it. It was a really old school saddle that I think I got for really cheap because it was a really, really old school saddle. Now they have all the little, and I had an Antares that has all the different, lumps and bumps and things that will keep your legs locked in place and make it very much
Not
easier. And they're
shifting around.
super comfortable and all that stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
this was in the 90s.
yeah, it was probably just
This
crap.
model. Maybe I should
Crappy
have some. Now I know it's like, oh, I don't know about now. But, all right, I have see a couple of questions I want to put up, and I'm gonna ask you some more questions. We have Renee's. Are there any other authors in your family?
God, there's barely anybody who reads books in my family. So no. Oh no, I take it back. I just got a text from my niece a couple of weeks ago. And mind you, I come from a large family, so my sister, her mom is like 18 years older than I am, so she's sort of just not that much younger than me. Anyway, she has discovered that she loves writing. She's writing fan fiction. Um, so I mean, it was really kind of funny. It's like, how do you not write all day? I'm like, well, because I gotta pay the bills, and writing doesn't
Yeah,
do
you
it
have to
yet.
go to work too. Now, when you say fan fiction, is that like for a younger audience?
So fan fiction, as I understand it, and I know somebody famous like got started that way. I can't remember if the story is the woman who wrote 50 Shades of Grey started as fan fiction
Oh,
for
okay,
Twilight.
okay,
So, like, say for instance, if you're doing fan fiction for Twilight, you don't sell it. You don't have the rights to it, right? But there are fan fiction sites
right.
where you do like, your whatever story in that world and those people that you come up with. I don't know what she is writing fan fiction of.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
I
a
haven't
little
heard
afraid.
this about it. So, and I didn't
Uh,
know about that about 50 Shades. I haven't read those books, but I didn't know about that.
I might be getting it wrong, but there's something along those lines. There's somebody who has
No,
made
that
it.
does sound familiar. That it
Okay.
started out as fan fiction. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Another question is from who is this? Karen. She wants to know: do your characters talk to you?
Um, you know, Yes. It sounds absolutely
Yeah.
insane, but yes. In Cause, there's a character named Derg, who is a Scottish eventer who has come to teach um, a workshop that she's writing in, and he's only supposed to do that one scene. That was it, and it was really based on a. I mean, the horrible things he says in the lessons are very much based on instructors that I was around when I was at the equestrian center, but he just would not go away. It was just, I loved being around a handsome British Scottish dude, and it was like, this is fun. So it ends up he's a pretty integral part by the end. And yes, someday my dream would be, I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to read all these books, but I would love for Derek to have his own book too, because he just deserves it.
Oh, there you go. Well, then you should do it. You should lead the way. You should lead the way. And we talked about your family, if there's writers in your family. And Dana would like to know, does your family members read your books? You have 6 siblings? Do they read your books?
Sadly, my oldest sister has passed away during COVID, so I only have 5 left. Of that, or 4 left rather. Of those 4, one I don't think ever read a book, even when she was in school.
One of my
So
sisters.
she's definitely is not going to read anything. I have one. My oldest brother read 1 or 2 of them. My his daughter, so that niece, who is basically roughly my age, has read them all. She's been great.
Sweet.
Yeah. So other than that, I in for a while I kept getting really bummed out about it, and then there was some, I don't know, when it was Twitter, there was some thread that I got on that like every author is like, yeah, your family is the worst. They're the least supportive.
Oh, yeah.
They never read. They don't leave
They don't
reviews.
talk about your
So
books online. They don't share your work. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that on some of my family members. Wonder if they're watching. Cassandra's an author also, and she says, how long do you plan before you start writing?
Um, it a little bit depends on which book. I like to, like I said, I like to have the plot sort of in place in the big bones of it all. I don't have everything figured out. I mean, I went to a Sisters in Crime thing in Studio City, their monthly meeting, and Tammy Hogue, who is also mystery writer, who also rode horses. She's like, she doesn't even know who the killer is when she starts writing. I don't know how you do that.
Because I'm a pantser, I don't plot any of my books.
Mm.
But my question is, if it's a murder mystery like yours, you have to know who the villain is, and how can you not plot that?
You know, I knew who the villain was, the killer was in Starlight Mint Surprise Murder, knew all from the get-go, and the biggest, note or review, I guess, that I got of it was, well, I knew who the killer was, and I was like, "Well, yeah." That's, you know who the killer is every time you watch an NCIS fill in the blank, you know who it is, it's the journey, that's the fun part.
Right. Get
So, um, Framed, I knew, but tried to do a better job of hiding it. Cause knew from the get go who the killer was because it was another sort of inspired by real person
that. So a
of
real
someone who I thought, you
someone
know
you
what,
knew.
you're a horrible person. I bet you kill people.
Wow. Do they know that this
No,
book is based?
no,
Okay.
I haven't spoken to them in
I like
years.
that actually. I do.
Um, but like I said, the motive for murder, I didn't know, and I had a completely different plot, and it was the problem was I wrote myself in a corner. The end of Framed, and I'm not giving anything away. At the end of Framed, one of the characters is left for a very short, like 2 weeks, to go to New Orleans to help his mom. And at the end of the book, my main character Mel gets a text from him that says, "I need your help." And I thought at the time I wrote it, "Oh, that's brilliant. That's really brilliant." Because now people will come back, "Oh,
Oh yeah.
no, what does he need help for? What a cliffhanger." And I could not for the life of me figure out how to make that work out.
But you had to. 'Cause
Yeah, 'cause now I'm kind of
that's how it
stuck.
ended. So you
Uh,
had to.
so I took one solution to it and wrote the entire 50,000 NaNoWriMo words to it and went, "Oh god, it got super dark. It involved human trafficking." It was
Oh
just
my
like, Jesus,
Lord. This is book
what
two.
were you thinking?
Book two?
Well, so it's gone. That all got blown
Oh,
up,
it went
pulverized,
after.
gone, taken out. So when I restarted it, I had to come up with a different killer and who was guilty. And
Let's start over. How long did you spend on that book before you said, no, this isn't it? Did you finish the whole thing?
I got through. You get through 50,000 or so words for Nano.
That's quite a chunk.
Yeah, I mean, most of the ones I'm writing are mostly like 90,000 words around there, 85, 90,000. So it was I'd race through. Some stuff will happen here, and then got to the ending of it, and had a whole bunch of blank things in the middle. And I worked on it for about another month, and then went, "This is just." You're just trying to, hammer a round peg into a square hole. Just stop.
I think I can toss 50,000 words away. Have you like put it aside maybe and just change it somewhere and not,
It might come up. I mean, so I don't think it's any it isn't like it's an invaluable thing that nobody's ever done. What I had in mind to do was that we'd have this character come back. Jackson would come back from New Orleans, but he would have had amnesia, didn't know how he got back to Pine Cove, but he has blood on his chef jacket, and someone at his school he went to had been killed. And then his pockets are all kinds of clues, like a broken watch and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun sitting around with friends, probably a little too much drinking, coming up, and what do we find in his pockets? And just trying to make honestly, the amnesia thing was the killer. Like, how do you hit somebody in the head hard enough to give them amnesia?
Yeah.
And then pull them back into it so that they actually, can be a viable character in this book.
That's where our books takes us.
Yeah. So it might come back in some variation of that, but not with a main character.
Okay.
And certainly not as part of the love triangle aspect, because in Framed, there's a start of a love triangle between Mel and Jackson, who is the baker who went to New Orleans, and Greg Marks, who's the deputy sheriff. So the next book delves into that a bit more. That's my biggest thing, is trying to figure out, because between the end of Framed and rewriting Motive, I got into writing romance books. So I'm like, is the romance book way too coming into this mystery? Have I lost the mystery plot in favor of romance? I don't
know. So you've written fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
You've written murder mysteries. Would you call them a cozy murder mystery?
Yeah.
Now you're writing. Was it romantic suspense, or what is it?
Hockey romance.
Hockey romance. Okay, so we're now in genre number 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah, I think 3 is fair number.
Tell us a little bit about this one. Hold it up again so our readers can see.
So
Hockey romance.
Lincoln is the first one, and Luca is the one that came out more recently.
Okay.
And the next one is coming out in July. So here's the thing that happened was that, again, COVID changed so many things for so many people, right? I have never watched a hockey game in my life, but I take it back. I went to one and was like, this is boring. I can't even see the puck. We're so far away.
Book, right?
So during COVID, some friends who were very diehard hockey fans of the LA Kings, got my roommate and I watching LA Kings, and then I became like a super fan. And then finding out that hockey romances are very hot, at least at the time. I mean, there's still a hot genre, but it's getting flooded at this point. It's getting a little oversaturated as far as marketplaces go. But the challenge for me was I was new to hockey, and I shouldn't say never. Romance was not, I mean, like proper on jalapeno spicy, that kind of level thing. Romance had never been something I'd really done a lot of reading in before. I remember, and I love the series completely with all of my heart and soul. The Outlander TV series, completely love it. I read the first book and was like, he's raping her. This isn't romance. What the fuck? So it was like, yes, that's what real romance is. So it's not like that. It's not. I don't get into that.
Right.
But it is.
But there is steam.
There's steam, very much steamy.
From a level from 1 to 10, what's the level?
I'm gonna go 8.
Oh, it's pretty steamy.
Yeah, there's
pretty steamy.
There's like one thing. So I'm writing it as a team. That's why it's got Elisa Jean on the cover and not me, because I'm the Elisa half. My co-writer is the Jean half.
Okay, so you're writing a book together.
Yeah, which is an interesting experience.
Who gets to write the steamy parts?
At first, it was 100% on the Jean half to write the steamy part because she's more romance writer anyway. But we don't like break it up. Like I don't write the one character and she writes the other one because in a typical way of hockey romance unfolds and ours does is there's a chapter from the man's point of view and there's a chapter from the woman's point of view.
Oh, okay.
So it's the hockey player and then whatever the love interest is. But we don't break it down like that. I usually end up starting because I write in the mornings, and then just she likes to write better in the afternoon. Then she would pick up the flag and either rewrite or go forward, and then we just kind of leapfrog
Back and
with each
forth.
other over that.
Yeah.
So
So this is the first time you're writing with somebody as a co-author,
yeah.
and how's that experience?
Well, it's working out pretty well. I mean, we are roommates, so it's we do
Oh,
know
you're
each other.
roommates?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So so it isn't
My
completely
next question was, how did you guys meet and come together to write books together?
met 1,000 years ago at the barn. I was in charge of the working students at the place that we at Burbank at the equestrian center. The particular barn that was there was a school, so I was in charge of the working students, and those are just people who work their asses off to earn free lessons. You had to work like 8 hours of backbreaking labor to get a lesson. You're like, I'm not sure it's worth it, because that roughly comes out to like I don't know $6 an hour or something
Yeah.
at the time anyway. So we met there, ended up becoming roommates after the Northridge earthquake
Okay.
because I didn't want to die. It's bad enough you're gonna be squashed in an earthquake, but I don't know if anybody who's not in LA, you don't remember the pictures, but there were tons of like apartments just collapsed
Yeah, I
on top
remember
of
the Northridge
cars,
earthquake. I
you
do.
know,
Yeah.
and that when then the rest of the building pancaked on top of people. Now
Yeah,
I
I
don't know how
remember
many
it
people.
shattered in my house. This is before I met my husband. So they shattered in my house. It's pretty scary.
Um, I mean, I had zero damage at all. I mean, I honestly thought I had 2 cats at the time. I thought they were screwing around, and that was what was making everything shake. And then, so I didn't have anything break or anything like that. But
Where did you live during the earthquake?
I lived in Burbank.
Okay, I was in Pasadena when that
Okay.
happened. Yeah, I was in
Because
Pasadena.
my roommate had an apartment that wasn't that far away. It was more Sherman Oaksy-ish area, so
Okay.
not that many miles from where I lived. It's just all about construction and where you are. Her place, complete mayhem. I mean, that was one of her first book was inspired by that. It's about the earthquake isn't an earthquake. It's
Wow.
monsters are coming out. It's pretty fun. Um, but yeah, met then, and you know, just it was easy. It was like, okay, you don't annoy me to the part I want to murder you,
Okay,
so this is fine.
so this is a series. You got 2 books written. Do you ladies know how many? Oh, 3.
The
And
third one comes out in July. So we
how
did.
long is it taking you to write
Well,
each
we
book?
took a year to write all 3 of them.
That's not bad. 3 books in a year. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's when it's clicking, it's great. The fourth one is taking a little bit longer because some other things have come up and life gets in the way and stuff.
Always.
But so that one might be. So the plan is to have 7 in this. So the way what hockey romances typically work is the entire team has like their books, and then somebody will get traded to the other team, and then you start that team having a series.
Oh, I see.
At least the ones that I've read. So that's probably going to be like 7 books in the LA Quakes series, and then we've got. I didn't get to be a part of this because I was doing Santa Story one week for one of the retreats, but my roommate and the friends who are the hockey fans. And I hope I don't offend your Facebook audience, but it was funny to me when they told me the story. They went out on their back patio and smoked pot and came up with all the other names, fictional names of all the NHL other teams, so that we had it all figured out.
Wow.
So that they weren't the Edmonton Oilers, the Edmonton something else. I don't know. I can't remember them, but it was just kind of funny. That it's like, wow, you guys.
Yeah, no kidding. So you've got
Anything to
quite a
be-
few books to write.
Yeah. So
You
I
really
have to be
do.
faster than I am right now, but yeah.
Wow. So you've written fantasy, cozy mystery, and now the romance. Out of the 3, do you have a favorite?
Um, I mean, cozy mystery is more in line with what I read,
Okay.
what is historically I would read. Um, so that one, and it's easier for me to kind of get into that groove. Because just it's been funny reading into like some of the reviews somebody had said, "Oh, well, now I read her bio and saw that she was involved with HBO projects. Now I understand why the dialogue is so good." And I'm like, I didn't write the dialogue HBO projects. I just gave people notes. But okay. So it's more. I like the being able to have the humor in it. Although the hockey books are pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, probably the cozies are more where I love. But if you were like to say which the favorite genre, like yeah, I would say that cozies are maybe the easiest one for me to slip into. But I love them all. I love
Now,
yeah.
when it comes to your romance, how many pages in each book?
I don't know.
So
Let
we'll
me look.
find out.
Like high 200s, 282,
Oh, so they're
283.
good sized books. And you wrote 3 in a year.
Yeah.
That's very good. And 3 are published, and one's coming out when?
2 are already published. These are self-published, and not to we opted to do this. We could have pitched them to Wild Rose Press, but the problem we were running into with some presses like that is just the feeling of um, having to steer too clear of pop culture references.
Mhm.
And it was like, that's the fun part of these hockey books. I'm not doing that. So we were like, you know what?
And that's why I self-publish. I like being my own boss,
Yeah.
make my own decisions, and not being told how to write and what to be in my books. And that's
Yeah.
my personal preference, and that's what works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, cause for elimination, when my editor, Casey, came on board with that, she's like, okay, well, first you got to cut out 30,000 page or 30,000 words. And I was like, how am I gonna do? Because it was properly way too long. I mean, I think the end product is close to 90,000 words anyway. So I think it was like 150,000 words. It was way too much, way too many POVs, all those rookie mistakes that I didn't know about. So she definitely working with her made it better. But I feel like, and the other authors have said the same thing at this again, the monthly Sisters in Crime thing, that editors just now at this point in time, they don't really roll up their sleeves and get into the
Mm-mm.
nitty-gritty of the stories anymore. You're
It's
mo
all changed, and a lot of them just feed it through AI, which I can't stand.
oof,
I just can't
I didn't
stand
know
that.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
they just feed it through AI.
mm,
So
yeah.
it's a shame. Um, the question I had is just disappeared right now. Oh, I know what it is. I'm looking at the time. It's like, my God, an hour goes by too quick, because I could sit here for another hour and just talk to you. And I know I didn't get to many of the questions at all tonight, so I apologize to the readers. But I did mention to you that if you have time, jump on my author page where you'll find the video.
Okay.
Just scroll through the comments, and I'm sure you'll see many questions that we did not even get
Okay.
to.
No worries.
But before we sign off, number one is, where can readers find you?
I'm everywhere that books are sold. You can go to Draft to Digital and find any of the books if you prefer not to go through Amazon,
Mhm.
or go to Goodreads, and they're all up there as well.
Okay.
If you're in the area, I'm actually gonna be at the Open Book Bookstore in Northridge Mall
Okay.
on June 28th, pushing the hockey romance books, but all of them
Sweet.
will be available. Yeah, I can't really find as many live things to go to at this moment in time, so it's kind of up in the air at the moment. But yeah, you can always go to Amazon and find me. Books to read, BookBub. Any follows are appreciated.
There you go.
You can find me on Instagram under Marla Writes Words. Um, yeah,
Do you have a website?
I do. Is marlaawhite.com.
Perfect. There we go. And now, when it comes to your books, I know they're in paperback, they're in ebook. Are they on Kindle Unlimited or just on Kindle?
Just Kindle.
Just Kindle.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I could talk to you for another hour. This has been
You're a delight as well. I could
you
just
really,
do
and I
this.
love that we have matching shirts.
I know that's so funny. We
It
did
is.
not plan this.
We didn't. We didn't. I love it. I love it. But before we leave, you do have a giveaway, which is, I appreciate that. And could you let us know let the readers know what that giveaway is?
So what the winner gets to pick
Oh, wow.
which of the paperback books they would like to get a copy of.
Okay, so it could be one of the romance, the urban.
So it could be any of this
Oh, right. Just
like
a few to choose from.
stack of books to choose from.
Okay.
But you can also look at my website. It has all of them there on the website. They also have excerpts on the website. So if you want to take a look at some of it, I think the excerpts are usually just the opening chapter or something.
Okay.
Um, And then yeah, let me know which one you like when you get notified you're the winner, and I will be sure to send that out to you.
Perfect. And it'll be a signed paperback?
Absolutely.
Yay, I love it. And of course, readers, I'm doing my regular giver, which is the $5 Amazon gift card. And all I ask you to do is to share this video from my author page on Facebook. Share it as many times as you like to your favorite reading groups, wherever you want to share it. The more times you share it, the more times you're entered for the $5 Amazon gift card. And I will announce the winners tonight in my group. And then I will email and message you, Marla, with the winner's info.
Perfect.
And hopefully when they get you, well, I know they will. When you finish reading the book, you will leave a review. I know they will.
All reviews are much appreciated, even if it just said good book. Because there's so many friends who are like, I don't know what to say. I said, you don't have to write a novel.
It doesn't have to be a novel, just a few words, and that's enough.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, I do want to ask you one final question, which I love hearing from authors, is what advice would you give to an aspiring writer that would like to become published?
Same advice I gave to my mentee yesterday. Just you have to write every day. I don't know how to not do that. I love Stephen King's On Writing book. He's got some really fabulous quotes from him. I think that's where he has the quote about, I tell people when they interview me, I write every day except for Christmas and my birthday. That's a lie. I write every day. It's just, so I get it that sometimes I'm not great. Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
It's just an exercise. It's an exercise in our brain, exercise in our writing techniques. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can just be horrible. But just getting that, exercise. Like when you go exercise to work out, you do it every day. It's the same thing.
Some of us do.
We exercise. Doesn't mean we are. Anyways,
so that's it. Aspiring writers, just write. Don't judge. Don't edit. Don't anything. Just write. Get it down and just enjoy it. It won't be fun. It's not always fun. No. It isn't like I have so much fun at the keyboard. Some days I want to hit myself with it, but just keep at it. And then,
All right. Before we sign off, I'll give you let's just say the last few words, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay. Oh, I thought that was my last few words.
That was a question.
Thank you so much, Tina, for having me. It was delightful meeting you, and your husband was up at the book thing.
Yeah, that was Gordon. That was my husband. Yeah.
Delightful. You guys are delightful there, and it was such a pretty place. So jealous.
How did you find PMC from LA?
It wasn't using GPS. Let me tell you.
Little mountain town.
We were but my roommate and I, Carolyn, were at the Santa Clarita Valley Book Fair.
Okay, I was there too.
Okay, so whoever did whoever was organizing the Books in the Woods thing was there and
handing out the flyers.
Yeah.
Okay, good for her.
Yeah.
We're doing it again next year. We're not doing it this year, but we are doing it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, you'd have to tell me that you'll have better signage. It's a beautiful town, but we were wandering around. We were basically there and still didn't see a single sign. I mean, we were in the parking lot.
Oh, you mean for the book fair?
Yeah. Until somebody came up and said,
assumed that everyone in town knew about it. And we said the same thing.
No.
Same thing.
We the only people that came through were people like, hey, what's going on up here? We're like, great job advertising, you guys.
Mountain folks.
Even the people in the stores didn't know it. I would go and just took a break and went to like one of the jewelry stores or something, and they're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing out there?" I'm like, "Oh, brilliant job, brilliant." Yeah, oh man.
Folks for you. All right, sweetheart. We're gonna sign off. Thank you so much, and I will email you later tonight with the winners.
Okay, great.
Thanks for joining us, and I will see you later in the group. Good night, everybody.
Meet all of you. Bye.